It's the fourth day of the World Economic Forum, and my colleague, editor of economics, Tshepo Mongoai, is out there. With him, he has the Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition, Parks Tau. And this comes at a time when business is lobbying against the DTIC's plan to create a transformation fund. Well, for more on this and other issues, let's cross to Tshepo. A very good afternoon to you, Tshepo. Tell us more.
Very good afternoon to you, Nompu. We coming to you live from Davos here in Switzerland. It's currently snowing and the temperature has dropped and it's bitterly cold, but we are just getting along. And you are correctly right. It has been a week of reflections, of course, in terms of opportunities and some of the challenges, particularly in the business environment, and what government can really do to deal with some of the issues that business is raising to ensure that there's more investment in various countries, particularly as South Africans, for South Africa. But of course, for more, we are joined by the Minister, as you correctly pointed out, Nompu. Minister, thank you very much for joining us live from Davos. A lot of issues have been raised. Let's talk about opportunities and challenges. Let's start with the challenges that business is raising, that as the DTIC you need to raise and address, so to ensure that there is more investment in the country.
Well, thank you very much and good day. In fact, today has been an interesting day because it's a day that we've dedicated to critical minerals. We started with a round table that was a global round table that's looking at the role of critical minerals in the overall development of the world and the role that they would play in relation to decarbonization, in relation to climate change, in relation to converting into cleaner and greener energy sources, and the way in which, as we extract these minerals from countries in the global south, we facilitate economic development and beneficiation in these countries. We then later had a discussion with South African business in a panel discussion, particularly the mining industry, about the role of critical minerals in our context. Now, you would know that the President has announced that amongst the priorities for our presidency of the G20 is critical minerals and ensuring that these are able to add value to the development of South Africa and indeed Africa and the global south. So our discussions led to a solutions-orientated conversation between business and government. The first is we acknowledge that, in fact, a partnership has evolved between South African business and the South African government. We've seen this through the successes of Operation Vulindlela as we're beginning to celebrate them, in amongst others load shedding and energy, in amongst others transportation and logistics. Of course, we can continue to reflect on the work that was done during COVID, the Solidarity Fund, and the impact that made. And we've now collectively said, okay, we're solving problems, but let's set an agenda about how we develop the country collectively. How do we create cohesion between government and business so that the investments they make are conscious of the direction that we're taking, the policies we put in place, the instruments we put in place, enable business to be able to invest in these value chains. Of course, policy is important, and business has said, we think it's important that you clarify the policy environment.
Minister, of course, this event offers an opportunity to meet some of the international investors with business in South Africa, like Mittal family. Have you met them as government and engaged them in your endeavor to ensure that those jobs in the steel industry are preserved?
We've met with various businesses, a lot of them located in South Africa. They've got investments in South Africa, multinational companies, and these range from Anglo-American to De Beers to countries that have expressed appetite to invest in the country. We have met with the Mittal family, the chairman of ArcelorMittal, both as ministers, the three ministers, Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Minister of Finance, Minister of Energy and Electricity. And we had discussions that said, how do we begin solving the problems that we have, particularly in Vereeniging, particularly in Newcastle, and how to ensure that we avert what could be a jobs bloodbath. And we're thinking and working around solutions. We acknowledged the work that's been done through the departmental efforts and intergovernmental departmental effort of ensuring that we're able to deal with this. But we also had the meeting through the President. So the President also had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Mittal to talk about the situation. They have given clear directions about us ensuring that we accelerate the discussions and we find solutions sooner rather than later.
Just in conclusion, Minister, the Transformation Fund, there's been a lot of concerns raised, particularly from the private sector back at home. Your approach on this particular issue?
Well, firstly, I should say that it is a draft. It's an internal draft that's currently being discussed in the department. We were asked a question in Parliament to say, do you have this discussion? And we said, yes, we have this discussion. This is what the discussion is about. At the appropriate time, we will release the draft for engagement. We will be engaging with business. I saw the president of MUSA. Yeah, I saw the CEO of Business Leadership South Africa, and we all agree that, in fact, it's an important conversation. We're open for discussion. I think we've evolved a maturity in our relationship with business that's consultative, that acknowledges our respective responsibilities. So I've observed the discourse in the country, and I'm actually wondering, what's the controversy in this discourse? There's a draft document. It will be engaged with business. We will be discussing these matters, and we'll find solutions. The emphasis is, how do we ensure that we maximize the output of our investments into transformation? That's the most important question that we need to answer. I think all of us agree on the need for transformation in our country, on the need to accelerate transformation in our country, on the need to ensure that the instruments at our disposal are optimally deployed. And that's what we need to focus our energies on.
How soon can we expect that to be released, to finalize?
Well, currently the draft is in discussion. In fact, it's still with the NEF. They submitted it to the department in December. When I get back home, we'll be processing the draft, and we can then announce as to what the next steps are in terms of consultation. There's both an internal government consultation that we have not concluded, let alone the overall consultation across the board. We still need to engage with our colleagues in government.
Right. Thank you very much. That's the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Park Stau, of course, reflecting on the way forward with regard to the Transformation Fund.